Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Cinema Wave podcast here at the Culture Wave Media Network, and we are back to discuss the sequel to the Super Mario Brothers movie. It was a massive success when it came out, the animated version of the iconic Nintendo superstars and all of the other Nintendo stars that were in the original film. They're mostly back for this film with a slew of others that are in this. I'm going to be one of your hosts for this episode. My name is Darian Scalamoni. I am joined this time by Michael Peniston.
What's up?
And Vinny Albano.
Hello, hello.
This is the Super Mario Galaxy movie. So this is the official title of the sequel, which is based on I believe it's the Nintendo Wii game that came out had to have been like the mid to late 2000s. I did play that game. I didn't beat it, but I remember like playing it and enjoying it when I did play it when I was younger. And so that becomes the title of the film because they want to do an introduction to a character named Rosalina. Who's become kind of a big favorite across Nintendo. She is voiced by Brie Larson in this movie, but there is as I said, a slew of other new characters in this film. Again, if you're watching this review, you should have seen the movie. If you haven't at this point, there are a few characters that, again, they have previewed in trailers, so I don't think we're giving this away, but other big characters that are introduced for the first time in this, you have Bowser Jr., you have Yoshi, and you have Fox McCloud. So let's start with broad thoughts on the film in general, and then I want to kind of transition to these new additions. How do you feel that they handled it in a movie that is very frenetic? It has a lot going on, and it almost kind of feels like Nintendo's version of like an Avengers movie, basically, but just maybe not as well put together, let's say.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I would say this is like their version of an Avengers movie, but I'd say it's more like Civil War. You know, like I'd say it isn't fully there, but like we're kind of touching that area. But keeping it broad thoughts as far as the film, I enjoyed it more than most. I walked in seeing a lot of reviews, so I knew kind of what to, at least based off the audience reviews, I knew kind of what to judge it based off of. But I enjoyed it. I played Galaxy 1. I never played 2. I never finished 1 fully, but I knew like the concept of the game. And I think that there was some fan justice that was there, and I think that at the end of the day, that's what this film was primarily used for. That and a transition to a lot of other potential projects. So I'm purposely saying that now, just because I do feel like that should be like the ground foundation for this as far as my review with
expectations.
Yeah. You know, like I it's not something to go in expecting a lot, but I feel like for a fan justice, they do it somewhat justice. But overall, it was enjoyable. I had fun with some of the characters, not every character. But for now, I'll leave it just as that.
So I'm very passionate about this film.
Okay.
I was very excited for it. I love Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 on the Wii. And I have a lot to say about this film. I think that it's very fun. It really is. And it's a beautiful looking film. The direction, the fight choreography, all the storyboarding, every shot is perfect, honestly. Extremely, I like the word you use, kinetic. It's filled with energy. I love all these fight sequences. It's incredibly put together in a technical way. However, I have some big flaws with this film. One being that in the first 30 minutes, I really thought we were watching peak. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be the best movie ever. This is going to be peak fiction. This is all I ever wanted. You know, Donald Glover is giving an Academy Award winning performance as Yoshi. He's completely unrecognizable in the role. Yes. Amazing. Like, this is peak. Yoshi is peak. And then all that potential is wasted. And there's so many moments where they're giving us so much potential, and it's just wasted. Like we as the audience are being like a carrot or like a candy being dangled in front of our eyes, and then it's revealed that candy was fake, or that they're just gonna pull it away from us at the last minute. There's so many good opportunities for great things, and another big problem continuing on to that and my main flaw with the film is thematically and plot wise. When we enter the second act to the end, the film loses kind of all of its connection within plot. Instead of it being an event that unfolds and causes another event, cause and effect, right? Another event after another event. It literally feels as if they just wanted to do like, hey, here's a cool reference. Okay, singular event. Moving on to the next one. There's no ebb and flow. There's no connection between this plot. And it doesn't feel like we're rolling after a certain point, and it's just losing momentum for kind of cheap jokes, which I do think the film is funny and again fun at times, but it could have been peak. It could have been just as good as the first one, maybe even better, and it just loses it there. Especially with also last, I'll say in my broad thoughts, thematically the changes they make with Bowser, as well as the big change with Rosalina and Princess Peach's backstory, which we will get to.
Yes, definitely. So I agree with most of what you guys are saying. So again, without giving away, like, it's really just a fight scene. I think once we get that first fight scene between Bowser Jr., the Mario Bros, and Yoshi, right after that, the movie starts to go downhill. I love that fight scene, by the way. Everything with the paintbrush, everything with starting to see Yoshi kind of get involved, and I agree. I do think that Yoshi is... I would say Yoshi is tied, for me personally, for best new character, because I love Fox. I've always loved Fox. I've always loved Star Fox. And I kind of think that Glen Powell might be perfect casting for the character. So I was a fan of the way they handled that. I like some of the in-jokes with that. But again, it does become something where it's a lot of... not that people don't understand the inside baseball of what they're referencing and all these things, but it becomes very Easter egg and reference heavy in the second part of the movie. And yes, the way that Bowser is handled completely in this movie... I don't love the whole approach that they go down where he kind of becomes redeemed until he realizes like, oh, I'm a dad and like my son is trying to make me happy. Like it's something that it doesn't work for me. Like you said, Vinny, thematically on that level. And again, Rosalina, like we can get into it eventually, but yes, the backstory of what you come to find out at the end of the film, like if that is real, which I don't think it is, I never knew that about those characters, and like I feel like it would have been a bigger thing.
So it's different though, right?
Yeah.
They made significant changes that I don't approve of.
Okay. Yeah. All right, go ahead, Mikey. What did you have based off of the couple things we were just talking about?
Keeping it still in broad thoughts, or do you want to transition more into?
We can start to. I think at this point, again, if you're watching this review and you haven't seen the movie, go and see it and formulate your own opinion. It's a mega success. I feel like most people who would have wanted to see it opening weekend would have already. $372.8 million worldwide opening weekend, which is absolutely unbelievable. And you know what? Like, good for them. Like, good for them to do that. It just, the only movie that I think in the last 5 years that has made more opening weekend worldwide than that is the first Super Mario Brothers movie. So... you know, it's going to be a massive success. It already is a massive success. It was made. They keep things on a good budget. Illumination does. And I do agree with what Vinny was saying in terms of the animation. I do still think there's a lot of really great things in there for you to see. So I'm not going to say don't see this because you should formulate your own opinion. But at this point, we will be jumping into spoilers for the film in terms of the thematics, in terms of storylines and things like that. So you've been warned. Mikey, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So then piggybacking off of what you guys were just talking about, because there were a lot of key things that I feel like for sure... and I don't know how we're going to like get to each thing individually because I think the Rosalina thing is going to be a huge conversation piece in here. But going off of what you guys said, I definitely agree in the sense that they gave us a little bit and they pulled away. They focused so much on, and that's why I hence started with the foundation of the fan service. I feel like they're doing so much right now with these movies to try and relate them to the games that they're actively putting out at the same time or trying to announce for the future that it's like they're taking away from what could be really good plots. And I know, for example, the Galaxy plot is already like one of the strongest plots of the Mario franchise, you know? And so like for them to have to do that, especially with like the Rosalina thing and a lot of that, I just feel like it was weird. I feel like as far as stringing the characters together, Mario and Luigi, I just feel like they were kind of just thrown into this. I mean, granted, I know like with the game, like
how they're sidelined, dude.
right?
They're completely sidelined in the
movie,
movie,
right?
yes.
And it's like so much. And granted, knowing that like it ends up becoming more of like Peach's story being untold in this film, it makes sense that they're sidelined, but it also doesn't make any sense. I think going off again, just the tidbits of everything you guys had said, Donald Glover for sure is one of the strongest parts, as well as Glen Powell. Donald Glover, I love you guys. I love him in anything. And so, when I saw this, I was blown away. Didn't even think it was him. And he delivers, even just like the little like things like that. Like,
he's goated,
right?
Goated.
It's so good. It's really good. But also Fots for sure, because that was something. I was mad when they announced it like right before, because I was like,
would have been a nice surprise.
Sick.
Yeah.
Granted, the fan service of who else they bring into these films, I feel like, oh, all right, I get why they announced Fots. Like that's just driving more people. But I think it's like it's so focused on the fan service. But I keep trying to bring that up because it's like they're also gearing it towards things that are so modern with Mario that it's like, why are they doing that? So I'll give like a prime example, like the dragon that they just fought. I'm pretty sure that was from either like Odyssey or that was from like Wonder or something. And Wonder just came out like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you realize that they are, I don't know if they're with these storylines just stuck at a place where they're like, oh, we could just pick this thing from here and this thing from here and this thing from here and like try and flow it, because you can very well tell that they are trying to set up so much. You could tell that like Fox probably is going to get his own movie based off of this.
Yeah.
There's going to probably be a third one, you know, the big one that we know there'll probably be a Super Smash Bros. Movie.
Even though they keep swearing it's not going to happen, which makes no sense because this movie is like, I feel like, again, correct me, I've only seen the first movie once, by the way, and I did enjoy it.
Okay.
There's moments I don't like about it, but I was like, it's pretty good. I'm fine with it. This is a lot more action heavy. No?
Yeah.
Like this is a lot more based in like we're getting legitimate fight scenes that seem like cutscenes in Smash with characters in this movie.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel. I don't know if like you get that vibe, but like again, like you're seeing literal fights between Mario and Bowser Jr. and Bowser, and then again the one with the dragon, and then there's the one earlier, like I said, with Yoshi being involved. Like they're focusing more heavy on, again, keeping the action going for children because it's violence that they can kind of let play. Yeah. Like they're allowed to just kind of let it rip. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do want to add to both of those thoughts both of you guys said. So about the action and the constant Easter eggs, which a lot of people are like, oh, this is reference slop. This is Easter egg slop, which I honestly, it can also be fun and be reference Easter egg slop. I think that it can coexist. I really do think. And I actually don't have an issue with having as many like reference slop, I don't have an issue exactly with the concept of that, because again, it's a Mario movie, right? We're going to use as much of the property as you can, but the big problem with this film, and that's piggybacking off of your point, Mikey, is that in the first one, each item, each thing that was brought from the property into the first film was there for a plot reason and drove the plot forward. Here, it's just throwing shit at the wall and being like, oh my god, I know that thing. And then there's no flow, there's no connection between these things. For example, in the first movie, the Mario Kart reference, the Rainbow Road reference, they had to get on the carts and race the Rainbow Road to get where I forget where they had to go to Bowser's Kingdom, I believe, but they had to use that physically. Yeah. But in this, it's just kind of like, oh, look at that thing, right? You remember that? Ooh. And even then, they kind of cheap out on references that are iconic to Mario Galaxy, like the Bee suit, Mario's upgrade, the Bee upgrade. Where was that? Yeah. Like, yeah, we get the drill, we get the cloud, we get some other cool, we get the red star. Yeah. But like, where's the Bee? That's like the most iconic one, you know? Yeah. So there was also more ways where they could have implemented that and had it be a part of the plot and use references to move the plot forward and also use it more creatively. But unfortunately, they throw a lot of cool stuff, but they don't utilize it properly. That's my big problem.
I love that you made the reference in the beginning of our review about Captain America Civil War, because that's exactly like what, like, I think maybe my interpretation of what both you guys are saying. Because if you look at Civil War, a lot of people were really upset when that movie was announced because they were like, the comic is so important, it's so iconic, and it should be an Avengers movie because it's too big of a story for them to just kind of like make it a Captain America movie. But it literally is like Avengers 2.5. Like that's what that movie becomes. Yeah. And they actually utilize the plot really well because they have it go along with what's happening in universe, and it also sets the stage for everything that's coming after it. This, I feel like they're just taking that IP again because Super Mario Galaxy is probably the most beloved game since the original N64 game, like in terms of history. At least, like, again, like, this is what I'll say. We're all separated by a few years. Not that everyone needs to know this, but they're hearing it anyway. We're all separated by a few years in age. All of us know what Super Mario Galaxy is, and all of us have played Super Mario Galaxy. After Super Mario Galaxy, I don't know if I played another Mario game. Like, I played New Super Mario Bros. On DS, but as I got older and, like, I aged up into, like, more mature gaming, like, Mario Galaxy was the last one that I played and I was excited about, and I really enjoyed it. You guys also played it and enjoyed it. So it's taking this IP that is able to be spread out amongst all age groups. Like, there's people that, like, when that game came out, I'm going to say, like, let's say hypothetically, people are going to yell at me online. Let's say it came out in 2008. Might have came out a year after, might have come out a year before. 2008, I would have been 13 years old. I was prime age to be playing Mario. You guys were even younger than that, and then as you got older, that was your Mario game anyway to kind of either get you involved or continue on. So it hits every single quadrant of audiences. Yeah. So I agree with what you're saying, Vinny. It's like, you can take what they're trying to do and not cheapen the story of Super Mario Galaxy. Yeah. You didn't have to make this a Super Mario Galaxy movie just to not give all of the important time and effort and energy towards what actually makes that game important and then instill it into this world of what you're going to try to do cinematically. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. I 100% agree with all of this. Another thing, just kind of going off of just like the plot, just like I'm just thinking of little things that I felt like. Also, just going off of things you guys said previously in the conversation. Another thing that did really kind of bother me was Bowser in this film. Yeah, I agree. I feel like he really didn't even need to be in this film, to be honest. Like, and it's funny because I actually really enjoyed Bowser Jr. I enjoy. I don't want to say I really enjoyed him. I think that the concept of him in the film was cool, knowing him in the games as well as being like
visually all his stuff is sick.
Yeah, 100%.
All the stuff with the paintbrush is really cool.
I also think that what's his name, Benny Safdie,
did a good job.
Did a good job with his voice. And it was just like one of those things where I think they tried to focus too much on that like father son dynamic, which was a cool like piece to try and tie them together. But then, like, that's, I agree, like, once, like Bowser's character himself started to run with that, and, like, they had already went through, like, this whole, like, character arc. I remember sitting in the theater watching this when, like, Mario punched Bowser, and he grew thinking, like, oh, Bowser's about to, like turn on them. And all of a sudden, he's like, no. And, like, I was genuinely like, oh, snap. Like, Bowser's, like, good. Like, that's kind of cool to see. Yeah. So it was, like, why did they create that arc? Like, I get it why they did it, but like it was just such like you said, like they threw it in our face and then nope, and then put it right back. Yeah, and it was like, why are we doing this? And I get it was also to probably build up to, I think he was called King Skull King or something, the Skull King. But in the games, I know he's like another name. Bowser as like the
dry bones.
The dry bones. Yeah, like he has like a specific like the Bone King or something like that. You could tell it was trying to gear up to that, but even that was kind of stupid.
It's so quick.
It is. It's so fast. So
No, I just wanted to, because that was a brilliant point that you made, Mikey, and that's basically what I echo too. Is that thematically, a lot of these characters are wasted, and this is a unfortunate thing because I think studio intervention is the death to 9 out of 10 films, and I am. For sure, the studio looked at this film and said, hey, we can't put out a kid's movie that's longer than an hour and 30 minutes. No one's going to watch it for longer than that. But we also want to juggle as many things as possible to keep, the modern brain-rotted child constantly stimulated. Yeah. So that's the unfortunate cocktail that we have here within the Mario 2, because so many amazing characters that you could juggle, but it's too much for the short run time, and we're wasted. Bowser being the big one, because I look. So actually, sorry, I'm pulling it back a second because I want to say one other thing is that animation. I'm so passionate about kids' movies and animation because of the themes and the characters that we tell within these stories, because kids absorb these things and it's important for them. You're right. We have to, like, that's why I love animation so much, because it can tell stories and it can tell themes and messages stronger than any other medium within film, genre medium, of the visual storytelling, film, TV, etc. So the messages are very important to me in animation. So when you have Bowser and you have Mario in that scene, which I really love that scene when, Mario punches him, he grows big, and there's this redemption arc building within Bowser. So Mario is a man who cannot accept change in someone. He can't accept that this evil man is actually rehabilitated. And we're actually seeing Bowser face the idea that he was a terrible father upon rehabilitation, that he was teaching his son the wrong values. And I thought they were going to go with that Mario was going to learn to actually accept change in people, and Bowser was going to have to fight this conflict with his son in a very heart-to-heart conflict, that his son is completely indoctrinated by what he told him, and yet now Bowser rehabilitated is like, no, that is not what we're supposed to do here, Junior. But they don't do that. Yeah. Instead, they just throw away what could have been an amazing message and such a beautiful conflict, not only between Junior and Bowser, but Mario and the Bowsers. And Mario's whole idea of accepting someone's change is just forgotten about. And Bowser then is just like, all right, I'm going to be evil again because we have to keep making more sequels where I'm the villain. So so now they just forget his arc, and there could have been such a beautiful, impactful climax that is just not there.
Yeah, it feels so. Amanda Dobbins is a host of one of my favorite movie podcasts, The Big Picture for The Ringer. And so she's the only person I've heard in a review who has children talk about this. And she's like, I saw the point in the film where my sons got like slop face. Like literally got to a point in the movie where they were like, just like completely enamored by the pacing of what this movie becomes in the second act. And someone had used this as a reference, but it's literally like the entire film is on Ritalin. Like you're just constantly moving. Everything is cutting. Everything becomes an afterthought in that second half. And the impactful emotional core that they could have gone with that you talk about, Vinny, even in terms of the way that they introduce the inner conflict from Bowser with Bowser Jr. It's cool visually that they do the puppet show and they do something different because they're trying something. But it's kind of just another way to take you out of what is the core. Like, we're not getting to actually having a setup and having a premise and keeping us going. And almost everybody and everything becomes an afterthought in this movie because of it. Yeah. So, like, there's no redeeming arc for Bowser and Bowser Jr. Mario and Luigi get sidelined. Yoshi's a great standout character. But the best thing we get about Yoshi is that the adaptation of the character is perfect. Yeah. But, like, we don't learn a lot about Yoshi as a character. Yeah. Again, there's cool visuals. Like, I was cracking up at the montage of Yoshi just walking around, like in all the different settings. I'm like, this is hilarious and this is adorable and I love it. This is what Yoshi is to me. And even Fox, though the character is cool and it is a quick intro, I mean, they don't get into anything with what he did as Star Fox. It's very da 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 da, and it's like, where's Slippy Toad? Like, I want Falcon. Like, what are we doing? Yeah. And because, like you said, Vinny, they're literally just trying to smash everything in your face at the exact same time. And I didn't realize this until the end of the movie. But then, like, maybe I'm forgetting this from the Super Mario movie, the original one. Where's Donkey Kong? So Donkey Kong's just gone. And he was a central character at the end of the first movie.
I think I know why they did this. I don't know if you're going to touch on this too.
Donkey Kong Country movie?
Yes.
Probably.
They're definitely making a Donkey. I think they actually announced it that they're making like his solo film. But it was really cool. I think that this was one of the small fan services that they did in the film that I actually appreciate, because I'm a huge Mario fan, but I'm a even bigger Donkey Kong fan. I love his games. I just finished the Switch 2 version, the game that just came out. What's it called? I know that he has like a whole sideline story where he's like in Brooklyn helping the mayor. And like the mayor is like this girl that's like involved in all of his games essentially. And there was a scene where Yoshi was, when he was walking in the background, you see Donkey Kong and like Brooklyn. So it like
didn't even pick up on it because it's too quick for me.
So I guess in my head I was like, oh, okay, they're at least showing us that maybe while this is happening, he's doing the events of the
gotcha.
Yeah, this film. And so that was cool to see.
Yeah,
but I agree that the montage.
Yeah, it's just it's a lot though. If there's a lot of you in that, again, hour and a half runtime, like you can make this movie an hour 45 and maybe it doesn't feel as insanely paced as it does, but they are also trying to appeal to like young kids. Like I get that part of it. You know?
And I do want to add to that because the characters take a hit, right? Yeah, we talked about Bowser. I want to talk about Yoshi, and Yoshi, love him, right? Donald Glover, epic. And great intro. Love that little montage. It's awesome. You got it was Biggie, right? That was playing. Yeah. So you got Biggie playing, which is great. So funny. So and here's the thing though that I have my problem with Yoshi is that they give us Yoshi. They make him a vital, important part. Very first scene, he's like, hey, important character. He's like the third in the trio, right? So then they don't utilize him fully. And I say this for two pivotal moments that Yoshi could have been incredible, right? The scene with the dinosaur. Yoshi is a dinosaur himself, a small monster. He's going up against the ultimate T-Rex, the bigger monster. And he has to protect 3 infant versions of his comrades. He is protecting them. Right, he's running down the bridge. They fall. It is an epic sequence. It is amazingly directed, and it's energetic as hell, filled with adrenaline. Now, he loses the infants. This is a moment of crisis for Yoshi. And in this moment, just because he is a pet, just because he is a speechless animal, right, doesn't mean that we have to be rid of all character traits, right? Doesn't mean to be rid of all character development. There could still be a character there. And this pet, this small dinosaur, now faces this behemoth, intimidating dinosaur. He cowers in fear after losing 3 infants that he was trying to protect in this desperate moment. And in that moment, I was like, oh my God, Yoshi is going to stand up and be a hero for himself. And that is going to be a character moment that not only is inspiring to the children watching, but it's inspiring to me, the Yoshi fans, and inspiring to everyone else, right? That is a moment where he can stand up as the little dinosaur and take down the big one using his wits, using, his abilities with the absorption and his egg absorption abilities and all that. But instead, they just do like a brain rot cheap joke of, oh, baby shoot the baby gun. Yo, you waved the candy in front of her eyes. You had a moment filled with potential that Yoshi could have been an incredible character here. And then they just like play it off for like a cheap, stupid joke. And I was like, all right, cool, fine, I guess. And then same thing in the end. Like Yoshi was introduced as a vital character not in the cold opening scene, but in the first scene with Mario and Luigi. He's the vital character. They establish in the film, he's going to be he's going to be a part of the main trio. And then in the final fight, he's not even involved because he gets like I forget the power up he gets, and then he's just played off as a joke, he's not involved.
Yeah. He's just a balloon.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot of good points. I feel like I 100% agree. I feel like there was some service to Yoshi. I'm gonna keep it real actually, because I agree. Yoshi was one of my favorite parts of the film. I will say I wasn't the biggest fan of how quick it kind of like went into his storyline.
They find him within
Like
7 minutes
minutes.
of the movie.
I better say, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, guy, you're in our group," and Yoshi's like, "Hey, I'm here." And so it's like, and he's just there. I liked that. Like, there was a part of me that was like, I liked how seamless it was for him to just join this trio, considering he is like the third brother to a degree. But it was just so quick. It was like, oh, all right, I guess we're here now. I guess Yoshi's like here, okay.
Yeah.
And so that was like, ah, man. But then also going to your point with that exact scene, I feel like, and I think this is the only reason I enjoyed it a little bit. I was a big fan of, I forget the exact version it was, but there was a game that was called Yoshi's Island.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was like he like walked around with the babies on their back. I think that was the only service to the baby scene, but that whole scene they could have done without.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the Baby Mario and Baby Luigi stuff.
Yeah, because then it was like they were turning everyone babies, and it just felt like another like thing that was like hindering them. I think that 100% if they tackled it the way you said, it could have been a lot cooler, where it could have been like a cool hero moment for Yoshi.
Yeah.
And like then you could have even seen like more of the connection as far as like, oh, okay, now there's even like an emotional sort of attachment to these people. Like they already found him and they were like friends, but like now he saved them and everything. Like they could have played with that a lot more. I agree. Yeah. And you're right. They just, that was another thing they just threw in our face, and just I'm so happy you mentioned that you stated it that way, Vinny, in the beginning of this conversation, because you're right. There's just so many like throw in our face and then pull away. And there's another one that I want to transition this into, because I don't know if you guys thought it was cool or not. I thought it was cool at first to see, but now looking back, they kind of like wasted the cameo. Mr. Game & Watch.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, there's a few. There's a few. So there's Mr. Game & Watch.
There's about like Pikmin and all them too.
Well, there's Rob.
Yeah.
The Rob thing is literally just used. Like the Rob thing reminded me of the joke in Zootopia with Sloth.
Yeah, that was exactly.
And that's exactly what they're taking.
Yeah.
And again, like if Yoshi's gonna be such an important character, you show Birdo for 2 seconds in the casino.
Yeah.
Why give us Birdo? Like why give us Birdo at all? If you're just gonna have Birdo adjust its bow or her bow, I think Birdo's a girl, right?
Yeah.
She's adjusting her bow and she's like, huh. And that's all we get. Like Birdo's an important character in the lore of Yoshi too. So like, why are we doing that? I love the casino world. I do think visually that also is cool, but I just think they shove way too much in your face. Like I can't imagine watching. I don't know if either of you guys have done this. I can't imagine watching an Easter egg video for this movie. Because it has to be almost the length of the movie with how many different references they throw in your face to, again, just pull away from it. Like, I loved the Mad Max thing in the beginning, and that doesn't last very long either.
It doesn't.
Like, they just kind of are like, here's a cool visual, so we can make Mario and Luigi really cool looking, and we can level them up, and you can see that they've really learned their way since the last movie. And then we just get Yoshi, and then we're thrown right in the movie with 7 other side plots to follow in the next hour. You know, I mean, well, the one thing I want to get back to, because we talked about it in the beginning, and then we should probably wrap up the conversation anyway. Rosalina and Peach. Now, I don't know this, so I need you guys to kind of help me out in what they winded up doing or the direction they went in, basically.
I want you to lead.
Yeah. So Rosalina in Mario Galaxy, when you go into her like mansion and you go to the book and you read the beautiful story of Rosalina. I'm also a big Rosalina fan. My friends know that Rosalina's fine as hell, and I love Rosalina. I'm in love with Rosalina. I really am. But she has this beautiful story that she's a lone child, and the Lumas found her, and that's essentially that encompasses her whole background of a character. She was a lone child. She was found by these Lumas, and she became a Galaxy princess from there. She's also never a damsel in distress within the Galaxy games. Now, here's the thing. So, Princess Peach is typically the damsel in distress, but I like that they make her a badass. I think they do such a good job with that in the first film and this film, where she has autonomy and urgency of her own, and she's a badass. She's she's a princess dressed in pink. Typically it takes this idea of the the extreme feminine, more like typical girly princess feminine aesthetic, and says, hey, princesses could be badasses too. and in a cool way, right? And I love that. I love how they handle Peach. But just because now you make Peach not the damsel in distress, we just took away all the what made Rosalina cool, because now we have Rosalina as the damsel in distress. And because of the runtime of the movie, we never get a C plot of like what's going on with her. They just forget about her. We never get what's going on like in her imprisonment.
Mhm.
Like, is she, when she's covered and imprisoned in the paint, is she in another world? Like, what is she facing there? Is she trying to escape that? That's a whole other movie on of its own. But because of the runtime, unfortunately, we don't get that. And Rosalina, who in the games was never a damsel, is now kind of now is. So we uplifted Peach in a cool way, but unfortunately that took down Rosalina. And the big thing too is Peach's connection with Rosalina. Like I said, Rosalina was the lone child found by the Lumas. Now, I'm not too familiar with Peach's backstory, but making Peach also a creation of Stardust takes away what makes Peach so special, is that Peach really is very human, like Mario.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes her so cool.
Yeah.
Because it's that humanity. But now that we just took that away, Peach she was so cool. And now you're like, oh, but she actually was the chosen one this whole time, and you didn't know it. This is the cool twist. Now instead of feeling that human connection to her, that actually just pushed her a couple feet backwards. Because now it's like, oh, okay, so now she's made of stardust, which, you get what I mean? You lose that same human connection that you had with her in the previous film and the first half of this film.
100%.
And it then lessens the backstory of Rosalina. So I don't hate this change. I do think it is cool, and it makes a good like sisterly connection that kind of, is the foundation of the film. Yet, but it does ruin Rosalina's character. I think Rosalina could have been an awesome mentor-like character who is this, again, lone child found by the Lumas, and that is very interesting. But then we lose that, and in the what if world that we had that, I like the sound of that better than what we got, unfortunately.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I feel like it's funny too, because since this has come out, I remember Rosalina being also like the lone child of the stars, the Luna stars. But I've also heard so many people. It's like so many people don't remember like the exact background. Like I've heard people throw around that, no, in the games Rosalina was Peach's mom and stuff like that. And like I've heard so many. I'm 90% sure like you are right, that Vinny, it was like that case scenario. But it's just so funny that like now, because they try to throw in like the sister thing like that to give like Peach's backstory a little bit of justification, it's created an even bigger hole of things. I'm personally not a big fan. Going off of everything that you just said, Vinny, I 100% agree. I thought it was beautifully put.
Yeah.
Rosalina, I know as far as my experience with Rosalina, she's always been like a greater cosmic sort of, individual. And I agree, Peach has always been like more of like the human side. She's been closely related to Mario in that sense. So it's like, I always thought about that. I feel like going off of this and transitioning this into another like end part of this conversation, which would probably be after credit scenes. They very clearly introduced Daisy in this film.
Yeah.
And they could have very easily let Daisy and Peach have like that sisterly thing.
Yeah.
I feel like they very well should have let Rosalina be her own character. And like she's always been so powerful in the games as well. Like you're right, she's never been, from what I remember, a damsel in distress either. So it's like it does take away from that aspect of it for sure with Rosalina. And it's just like, I don't know, you're right, it makes her seem a little bit more weak. I feel like also with that fact that now that they connected the two, like with being sisters, it does make it a little bit more easier for them to just be like, oh, you know what, Daisy's also their third sister. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh, they're all sisters. It's just like what are we gonna, like? Is that just the cop out then? Like, is that, and they all just got separated? And like, I don't want that to be a case scenario where they just keep throwing that storyline around as we try to piece together who all these people are. Like, it would have been cool if they were all just their own individual people.
I wonder if they're just going to give Peach her own movie, and that's going to be the storyline for the third movie, for her movie, where it's just going to be Peach, Rosalina, and Daisy, and then Mario's going to go off and do his own thing.
I could see that. I also, because I wanted to ask you guys what you guys thought potentially could be like
a sequel.
Yeah,
well, I didn't think they were going to do Galaxy this way. So, like, I mean, again, I do think that inevitably they're working towards Super Smash Brothers. I don't think they're going to rush it, but at the same time, who knows? Because now we already have so many characters that are from the world of Smash. I do think that they have time to do it. I mean, they had a quick... remind me, Super Mario Bros. Was 2023, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So they have a decently quick turnaround to jam a lot in your face. I do think that if they try to rush a Super Smash movie, people will be really, really upset. So I do think they're going to take their time with it a little bit, and they have the benefit of what Marvel had in the beginning, where they can really make a lot of spin-off movies. Yeah. Not to say that that's going to make good content or it's going to make us satisfied necessarily, but they have the ability where they could do a spin-off with Peach. They're going to do a Donkey Kong movie. I think, again, like, we're getting a live-action Legend of Zelda. Like, it's already filming. So, like, we're going to see Link at some point. I don't know about Pokemon, where they're at, but Pokemon's already obviously done a number of things over the years. Like, I remember the first movie I ever saw in theaters was Pokemon 2000. Pokemon's also near and dear to my heart for a number of reasons. But, like, they can go in a lot of different directions. Again, the end credit scenes, the first one is when they're in the prison, right? So that one's not really anything in terms of story building. That's really for the kids to kind of just be like, oh, here's a funny thing with...
I think it sets up a Star Fox movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think that?
I think that the character is going to become popularly liked. I think that now that they've established that he has his jet fixed, he's like, I'm going back home. And like, we saw like the little snippet of him being like I was part of this team, and you saw like
you see the rest of the Star Fox team,
but how he got like separated from them all. And so I think that now they could do that in transition in a way to bring in like how you're saying they might do solo projects. They could do the same thing with Star Fox. Bring like the rest of them all, Falcon, all of them.
Yeah.
And so I think so. I want to let you talk first because I have more theories I want to say, or at least one theory, but I didn't know if you had.
Honestly, I don't really have much to say about the post-credit scenes, to be honest. I agree with all the points that you made. I don't really have much else to say about the film. I think I've spilled all of my passion. Okay. I think the only thing that I like to say is that I like Mario as a character because I am a short, greasy Italian from the Upper East Coast of the United States of America. And seeing also another short, greasy Italian from the Upper East Coast of America it's cool. I'm like, hey, it's Mario, and he gets the princess at the end. I'm like, maybe that could be me one day. I don't know.
Short King Vinny. We love it. We love it. That's so funny. What's your theory, and then we can get into scores.
Okay. I heard one thing, and it adds to my theory. That apparently that if they were to continue it, they don't know what other storylines they could do from here.
Okay.
So I heard a theory that, and this goes back to an earlier conversation where I was saying everything that they do with these movies somehow ties to the games. Like I don't know, when the first Mario movie came out, Donkey Kong had a new look, and then they released a new Donkey Kong game. They just announced they're releasing a new Star Fox game with this new look. They're like. You can tell they're trying to add on to all these things. And so with that being said, they did announce that they don't know how they would take it. So apparently if they do a third movie, the plot of that movie would be like a brand new plot that no one has ever seen Mario-wise, but it would be related to whatever video game
is coming out
that year. And it would be, the plot would match so you get the same sense of it. Which I just want to put that in because I don't know how I feel about that. That's that's entering a touchy subject where you're entering
cross branding.
Exactly. Yeah. And not only that, but also just I feel like there's so much, they're relying so much on fan service right now if they were to just completely do like OG stuff with this, that could have a different turn of, it could have a negative effect. And so I just heard that, but I'll also just throw in my theory. Being that Daisy was introduced at the very end of this, I do think that, which could be interesting to see. I think that we're going to realize that there is a Mirrorverse essentially of these characters. And I don't necessarily think that they're going to like sideline Mario and like kind of like bring up. I think what's going to end up happening is Daisy's going to come in, and while they're trying to build out essentially this double date, sort of like, oh, one brother gets this girl and the other brother gets this girl, I think that the villain of Waluigi and Mario are going to come in. And that they come from Daisy's place.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
I think that makes a lot of sense to me.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, actually. That would be cool. Yeah. But overall, let's get to scores. We've been talking for a while about this. I'll get it started. I don't think it's offensively bad for any reasons. I think there's a lot of visual cool things. There's a lot of, again, fan service that does play into us as fans of Nintendo games and all that stuff. But I'm trying to score it objectively as a film. And that's what I have to do when I give it the score. Because I do think I could return to this movie and maybe there's moments they stick out as like really cool things. But as Vinny dove more into, again, like the themes of what this movie could have been, it leaves a lot of room for something where it's like, I think this movie could have been an 8 or above.
Yeah.
But it doesn't get there for me because of a lot of decisions they make in terms of theming. I love the new characters. I just think that bringing in the same writers and directors, I'm surprised to see that they took such an unbelievably different approach with the sequel. And so I'm going to give it a 5. So I'm right in the middle because I think that I could grow with it and it could be a positive movie for me. I can't see it going lower than a 5. But there's a lot of things in this film that I just, again, like even as a 30-year-old, I'm sitting there with slop face because I'm just like, this is a lot, man. Like they're throwing a lot at you in an hour and 30 minutes that typically you don't even get half of that in a movie. And it makes you kind of feel like you're miscombobulated, So I'm going to give it a 5. I feel like you guys might have higher scores, but feel all right with that score.
Yeah, I think that, again, it was a fun time. I think I am stuck on a lot of the fan service because for me, most of this film was fan service. I'm trying to take away from it from outside of that, but it's just so hard. Like I physically can't because I can only think of like the Easter eggs and the fan service. So if I do have to keep that in mind, I would give it a 6.5.
Okay. Vinny?
Yeah, this is kind of hard for me to be honest. I think. Because again, I love a lot of what they do on a technical level. I mean, every shot is perfectly composed. The film looks beautiful. The choreography is great. The action scenes are energetic. And I love like the first 30 minutes. Like I genuinely really love the first 30 minutes. But then, a lot of what I really wanted, I was not getting from the second half of the film. I think I'm gonna give this like a light 5. Okay. Like a light 5. If on a bad day, maybe a 4.5.
Okay. Well, we're all kind of hovering around the same score. We would have loved to have seen a little bit more. I think we are excited for the future of what Nintendo can do. I hope that they bring in some really great storytellers to adapt interesting stories in Nintendo. And like we kind of see like a Marvel-esque build in a good way in the beginning. Yeah. So hopefully we get there. But let us know in the comment section, what did you guys think about the Super Mario Galaxy movie? Did you guys like it more than we did? What were some of your favorite moments in the film? Some things that you might have not liked about it? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to have a conversation with you guys in that comment section. Give this video a like if you guys can, and subscribe. As of this moment, before this video is posted, we are very close to 1,000 subscribers. We can monetize. We can start doing more stuff for you guys. So please hit that subscribe button. Share this with your friends. And follow us on social media if you don't already. We're on TikTok. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Threads. We're here on YouTube, obviously. So thank you guys for watching. Just signing off. I'm Darian Scalamoni.
I'm Mikey Peniston.
And I'm Vinny Albano.
And we'll see you guys next time.
This is the culture.